Have you ever noticed a strange pattern? The nicer you are, the more people interrupt you. The more understanding you try to be, the less seriously they take you. And the more you explain yourself to keep the peace, the more people slowly stop respecting you. At some point, you start asking yourself a painful question. Why do people treat me better when I'm distant than when I'm kind? If this sounds familiar, let me say this clearly. You're not too nice. You're just using niceness in a way that quietly works against you. And here's the uncomfortable truth nobody talks about. Being nice does not automatically earn respect. In many situations, it actually lowers it. Think about it. You say yes when you want to say no. You laugh things off when something bothers you. You explain your intentions so people don't misunderstand you. You give people the benefit of the doubt. Again and again. From the inside, it feels mature, considerate, emotionally intelligent. But from the outside, something very different is happening. People aren't reading your kindness as strength. They're reading it as availability, as flexibility, or as someone who will adapt to them instead of holding their own ground. And this is where most people get confused. They think respect comes from being liked, so they become more agreeable, more accommodating, more polite. But respect doesn't come from how pleasant you are. It comes from how stable you are. Here's the paradox. People respect those who can tolerate discomfort, especially the discomfort of disappointing others. When someone senses that you'll bend to avoid tension, their behavior toward you subtly changes. They push a little more. They take a little more. They listen a little less. Not because they're bad people, but because human psychology responds to signals, not intentions. And right now, you're sending a signal you don't realize you're sending. But before I show you what actually creates respect and why truly respected people are often calm, kind, and unshakable, you need to understand one thing. Niceness isn't the problem. Unbound niceness is. And once you see the difference, the way people treat you will never feel mysterious again. Here's what most people never realize about respect. Respect is not a reward for being good. It's a response to predictable self-respect. Your brain is constantly scanning the people around you, asking one silent question. How does this person treat themselves? And the answer to that question determines how others treat you. When you're overly nice, you unintentionally communicate something dangerous. Not weakness, but instability. Let me explain. Every time you agree when you disagree, every time you downplay your needs to avoid tension, every time you explain yourself so people won't feel uncomfortable, you're telling others, my boundaries move depending on who I'm with. And humans don't respect moving boundaries. Think about the people you respect the most. They're not loud. They're not aggressive. They don't constantly assert dominance, but they are consistent. If something crosses a line, it shows calmly. If something doesn't work for them, it's clear, without drama. They don't over-explain. They don't negotiate their self-worth. Now compare that to unbound niceness. Unbound niceness says, I'll absorb the discomfort so you don't have to. I'll adjust so things stay smooth. I'll carry the emotional load for everyone. At first, people appreciate it, but over time, something shifts. Your willingness to tolerate discomfort becomes expected, then assumed, then exploited, often unconsciously. This is why people interrupt nice people more, why they push deadlines, why they dismiss opinions, why they take emotional shortcuts with them. Not because you're weak, but because your nervous system is doing all the regulating for the room. And here's the most important insight. Respect doesn't come from how much you give. It comes from what you don't give away too easily. Your time, your emotional energy, your agreement, your silence. The moment people realize those things have weight, their behavior changes. But if unbound niceness erodes respect, what actually creates it? That's where most advice goes wrong. Because the answer isn't being cold. It isn't being rude. And it definitely isn't becoming aggressive. The real answer is something much quieter. And once you understand it, you'll never confuse kindness with self-erasure again. So if being nice isn't the answer, what is? It's not becoming colder. It's not pushing people away. And it's not learning how to be intimidating. The shift that changes everything is simple, but uncomfortable. You stop managing other people's emotions. Most nice people don't realize this is what they're doing. They soften their words so no one feels hurt. They explain their decisions so no one feels confused. They tolerate behavior they dislike so no one feels awkward. But the people who are deeply respected do the opposite. They let discomfort exist. Not aggressively, not dramatically, just calmly. They say things like, that doesn't work for me. I'm not comfortable with that. I'll pass. And then they stop talking. No apology speeches, no emotional cushioning. No over-explaining. And here's what's powerful about this. When you don't rush to smooth things over, people feel the weight of the moment. They have to adjust instead of you. This is what creates respect, because now your boundaries feel real, not flexible, not negotiable, not dependent on mood or approval. Here's the mistake most people make when they try to apply this. They think they need confidence first. They don't. Confidence is a result, not a requirement. The first time you don't explain yourself, your body will feel tense. Your mind will panic. You'll want to fill the silence. That urge is old programming. The fear of being misunderstood, the fear of being disliked. But every time you resist it, something changes. People start listening more closely. They pause before crossing lines. They choose their words more carefully around you. Not because you became harsher, but because you became solid. And this is the final distinction that changes everything. Kindness with boundaries feels calm. Niceness without boundaries feels nervous. People don't respect calm because it's loud. They respect it because it doesn't need permission. When you stop over-giving, over-explaining, and over-accommodating, you don't lose your warmth. You finally anchor it. And that's why the people who are truly respected aren't the nicest in the room. They're the most grounded. Because the strongest signal you can send isn't politeness. It's self-respect.